Paul McCartney, born James Paul McCartney on June 18, 1942, in Liverpool, England, grew up in a working-class family with a deep appreciation for music. His father, Jim, was a jazz musician, and his mother, Mary, worked as a nurse. McCartney's childhood was forever altered when his mother passed away from breast cancer when he was just 14, an event that shaped his emotional life and songwriting. This loss is reflected in many of his works, including the iconic Let It Be. McCartney's early musical journey took a pivotal turn when he met John Lennon at a church fete in 1957. Lennon, impressed by Paul's ability to tune a guitar and recall lyrics, invited him to join his band, the Quarrymen. This meeting would lay the foundation for one of the most successful musical partnerships in history. The birth of the Beatles, a journey of creative synergy. The Beatles' rise to fame in the early 1960s was a cultural revolution. McCartney, serving as the band's bassist and one of its lead vocalists, was instrumental in creating their distinct sound. Known for his melodic bass lines, versatile voice, and sophisticated songwriting, McCartney penned some of the band's most beloved songs, including Yesterday, Hey Jude, and Blackbird. The partnership between Lennon and McCartney balanced rebellion and romanticism, forging songs that resonated deeply with audiences across the globe. McCartney's creativity shone through even as the band pushed musical boundaries, experimenting with new genres and studio techniques. McCartney's contributions to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band cemented his place in music history, a symbol of the 1960s counterculture that forever altered the trajectory of popular music. Life after the Beatles. Reinventing himself. When the Beatles disbanded in 1970, McCartney faced the challenge of establishing himself as a solo artist. His debut album, McCartney, showcased his personal emotions, particularly in the heartfelt track Maybe I'm Amazed, which was inspired by his love for his first wife, Linda Eastman. Together, the McCartneys formed the band Wings, achieving commercial success throughout the 1970s. Hits like Band on the Run and Live and Let Die solidified McCartney's status as one of the most successful musicians of the era. The band's worldwide tours and chart-topping albums demonstrated that McCartney could thrive outside of the shadow of the Beatles, reinforcing his lasting legacy as both a musical innovator and a popular icon. The 1970s were a defining period for McCartney as he successfully navigated life after the Beatles while continuing to create music that resonated with audiences. Enduring creativity, touring, and classical ventures. Even in his 60s, McCartney showed no signs of slowing down. He continued to tour the world, playing to sold-out arenas filled with fans from multiple generations. His concerts became celebrations not only of his musical history, but of his ongoing creativity. Known for performing marathon shows lasting nearly 3 hours, McCartney's live performances spanned his entire career, from Beatles hits to solo classics. Alongside his tours, McCartney ventured into classical music with the album Exe Cor Meum, 2006, which explored orchestral and choral compositions. Inspired by the memory of his late wife, Linda, the album received widespread critical acclaim for its emotional depth and melodic beauty. McCartney's ability to bridge the gap between popular and classical music earned him a Classical Brit Award and further established his versatility as a composer. Memory, legacy, and reinvention, the road ahead. In 2007, McCartney released Memory Almost Full, an album filled with reflections on life, aging, and the passage of time. The record resonated with fans, capturing McCartney's introspective side while still maintaining his playful, light-hearted nature. The album's songs, such as Ever Present Past and Dance Tonight, dealt with themes of mortality and legacy, acknowledging the inevitable passage of time while embracing the present. The success of Memory. Almost Full proved that McCartney was still a relevant force in the music world, even as he navigated his personal challenges. The album was released under his partnership with Starbucks Hear Music label, signaling his willingness to adapt to the changing music industry while still creating music that connected deeply with listeners. The Fireman and New Musical Directions. In 2008, McCartney teamed up with producer Youth to create Electric Arguments, an experimental album under the name The Fireman. This collaboration marked a significant departure from McCartney's typical style, featuring more improvisational, raw, and spontaneous songwriting. The album blended rock, folk, and ambient sounds, offering a fresh perspective on McCartney's creative capabilities. Critics and fans alike were surprised by the bold, adventurous nature of the album, which showcased McCartney's willingness to explore new artistic terrain. Tracks like Sing the Changes and Nothing Too Much, Just Out of Sight, demonstrated his openness to musical experimentation, proving that even after decades in the business, McCartney was still eager to take risks and reinvent himself creatively. McCartney's marital journey, love, lawadiso, boalas emerubmerns, loss, and resilience. Paul McCartney's marital life has been a reflection of his personal evolution. His first marriage to Linda Eastman in 1969 was one of the most admired celebrity unions of the 20th century. Linda, an accomplished photographer and animal rights advocate, was a crucial part of McCartney's personal and artistic life. Together, they formed Wings and raised their children in a quiet, down-to-earth manner, far removed from the typical rock star lifestyle. Linda's influence on McCartney was profound, not only in music, but in his advocacy for animal rights and vegetarianism. Their marriage lasted nearly 30 years, until Linda's tragic death from breast cancer in 1998, leaving McCartney devastated. He often spoke of her as his soulmate, and the grief from her passing shaped his life and music in profound ways. A new chapter, McCartney's marriage to Heather Mills. After years of mourning Linda, McCartney entered a new chapter of his life when he met Heather Mills, a former model and charity campaigner, in 1999. Their relationship quickly became the subject of intense media scrutiny, culminating in their marriage in 2002. Mills, known for her advocacy work supporting amputees and landmine victims, seemed to offer McCartney a sense of renewal after the loss of his first wife. The couple had a daughter, Beatrice, in 2003, but by 2006, their marriage began to unravel amid public tensions and legal disputes. Their highly publicized divorce in 2008 marked the end of an era for McCartney, with the details of their separation becoming a source of media frenzy. Despite the personal turmoil, McCartney maintained his dignity and focused on his music and fatherhood, handling the situation with grace. George Harrison, a bond forged in music and forgiveness. Despite the rivalry and tension that sometimes surfaced between them, McCartney fondly remembers the final years of his friendship with George Harrison. When Harrison was battling cancer, the two reconciled, putting aside past grievances and simply spending time together. McCartney recalls, "We sat together for hours, just talking and holding hands. We didn't talk about the Beatles or fame. We talked about gardening, family, and love, the real things that matter." These intimate moments of connection provided McCartney with a sense of closure and peace, knowing that they had reconciled before Harrison's passing. Today, McCartney keeps George's memory close, often performing Harrison's songs in tribute, beginning with a ukulele, a nod to Harrison's favorite instrument. For McCartney, this musical gesture serves as a spiritual reunion with his friend, a reminder that their bond endured beyond all the noise of fame. A legacy of love and music, McCartney's final reflections. As McCartney reflects on his decades-long career and the relationships that shaped him, he speaks with gratitude and a deep sense of peace. His memories of George Harrison, now softened by time, are no longer clouded by rivalry or regret. McCartney recognizes the profound impact Harrison had on his life, teaching him patience and the importance of appreciating the simple things in life. Through their shared love of music and their moments of reconciliation, McCartney and Harrison created a legacy that extends far beyond the Beatles. McCartney's journey, which began in the smoky clubs of Liverpool, has come full circle, and in his twilight years, he speaks with the wisdom of a man who has loved, lost, and learned. The music, the memories, and the love continue to live on, reminding us that the truest legacy is found in the relationships we cherish and the music we leave behind.